Okay, so alcohol is readily, absorbed by the body and the brain. It's consumed orally, of course. It has to work its way through the stomach, and then it gets into the small intestine where most of the absorption will actually take place. There's actually an enzyme, a degradative enzyme, that can break down alcohol that is released into the stomach, called alcohol dehydrogenase, or ADH, and there are different forms of ADH. Like, we inherit different alleles, right? Different versions of the same gene to create this degradative enzyme. And that matters because it turns out that when ADH, alcohol dehydrogenase, grabs onto alcohol, it breaks it down into this compound called acetaldehyde, which is a very toxic compound. It can do damage to the liver, damage to the body, provoke flushing and tachycardia, like rapid heart rate. Some people have a very bad response to alcohol because they have a form of the ADH gene that is very efficient and really rapidly breaks down that alcohol into this toxic acetaldehyde, and that's quite dangerous actually. And the acetaldehyde is typically, there's another enzyme, acetaldehyde dehydrogenase, or ALDH, that'll grab onto the acetaldehyde and break it down into non-toxic compounds. So, depending on which alleles you inherit, for the ADH and the ALDH, you could end up with this increased amount of acetaldehyde, which is quite toxic and unpleasant, and can do damage, and may, make you less likely to consume alcohol because of those potentially toxic effects. The other pathway for alcohol degradation is, again, the cytochrome P450 complex of enzymes in the liver. And remember, orally consumed drugs like alcohol, they pass through the stomach into the small intestine, get absorbed into the bloodstream, and then go directly into hepatic circulation, or the first pass effect to the liver, where this, in the case of alcohol, the cytochrome P450 family of enzymes can grab it and break it down. It's interesting, if you go to the doctor and you're going to be prescribed a therapeutic drug that's also broken down by this cytochrome P450 pathway, well, your doctor will ask, how often do you drink? How often do you drink alcohol? Because if you drink alcohol on a regular basis, if you chronically consume alcohol, and many, many Americans actually, it turns out, do, well, you're going to actually upregulate the activity of the cytochrome P450 complex, and you're going to get what's known as a tolerance, a tolerance to the therapeutic drug as well, because you upregulated the cytochrome P450 because of chronic exposure to alcohol. This is called drug disposition tolerance, actually. So these two pathways are very important. You can actually get more alcohol degradation in the stomach if you slow the passage of alcohol through the stomach. So if you eat cheese, and if you eat crackers, and if you eat food while you're drinking or before you drink. There are some gender differences, actually, in terms of the effectiveness of the ADH enzyme in the gut, that make women more susceptible to less breakdown at higher levels of alcohol from the same drink. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to alcohol, but these two enzymatic pathways are quite critical, actually, in the removal of alcohol from our systems.